What's going on, everybody? Hope you all having a fantastic day, and welcome back to the Armory. As always, the Armory is a podcast. We'll be breaking down kind of what it means to be a leader, talking about various different leadership traits that go along with it. As you can see, setting's a little different. We got my friend Liam, my friend Will here. As you see, Josh is not here. He's out of town. We got to get a podcast out. So, brought my two boys on to talk about a very important topic today. Why don't you introduce yourself?
What's going on, guys? I'm Liam. I just want to thank Zach. No, Josh isn't here, but I want to thank him too for letting me be on here. So excited.
My name's Will. I'm honored to be on here. Better be a hype podcast.
Yes, sir. All right, boys. Today, we're going to be talking about kind of like our family situations and different situations and trying to get on your level, and so that you understand, like, we all go through stuff, like we all have problems, we're all dealt a different hand, and these boys are going to come on here and explain their unfortunate hand that they have been dealt in life and how we've overcome it, how they've overcome it, what they're actively doing, because we're not finished products, we never will be, but every day we're striving to get better and better. And so, who wants to kick us off? Who wants the first story?
I'll go first.
All right.
So I've got a really, really good, interesting story for you guys, and it starts back, we'll say freshman year. So freshman year, I'm an upcoming senior, by the way, just so you know. I'm 17. Will's also 17, upcoming seniors. Just a little backstory. So starting freshman year, I was an amazing student, like straight A's, came out of freshman year with a 4.6 GPA. Like, I could go anywhere I wanted at this point. Like, my path looked so good for college, and it looked so good to go to school. My parents were proud of me. Like, our relationship was better than ever, and it was awesome. And then I started moving through high school. I kept loving it. I was like, had a lot of friends. I was connecting with everybody, and it was awesome. But then once I got to my junior year, I started feeling like unaccomplished almost. I felt like I wasn't getting what I wanted out of life. And then last summer, before my junior year started, I got introduced to this friend group, and like, my life was changed, honestly. And I was playing baseball that summer. I played baseball in the fall, and like, after that, I got hired at Chick-fil-A in, I think, September of 2024 or 2023, and it really changed my life, honestly, because I got involved with these guys. I got involved with a bunch of leadership people that helped me on my leadership path, and ever since then, it's been a completely different story. And for me, it's been awesome, but for my relationship with my parents, it hasn't been so great. So me and Will recently, we started a mobile detailing business, and we've been really locked in on that, and I think that has a good future for us. But with my parents, that's really flipped a switch for us, because when I was planning to go to college, planning to do what my parents wanted me to do, go to college, go 4 years, work in a corporate job, and do what every American wants to do these days.
The American dream.
Yeah, right. The American dream.
Yeah.
My parents were super into it, and they loved that. But now that I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to pursue something else in life, it hasn't been so great. So at the beginning of this summer, we were planning a beach trip. We loved the beach trip. Elliot, Josh, and Zach had a great podcast out there on the beach trip. It was a great time. But like 3 weeks prior to that beach trip, me and my parents got in a little argument, and it turned into like a no talking game. So the 3 weeks before the beach trip, me and my parents hadn't had a single conversation. So they knew about the beach trip, but I never really like asked them, and I never got a full answer. So the night before we were leaving for the beach trip, we left it early in the morning, so I slept over at Zach's house. So me, Zach, Will, a few of our buddies go over to my house to grab my stuff, say bye to my parents, whatever. So we go over there, we walk in the room, and the room's just weird. The room's really weird.
Yeah, weird vibe.
Yeah. So we walk in, I go upstairs, grab my stuff. Zach and all them are downstairs doing whatever they're doing. And my mom, as soon as we walk in the door, she goes straight upstairs. I'm like, okay, something's off. So I go up to my room, grab my stuff, put it in the car, come back inside, go upstairs to my mom's room, and I'm like talking to her. I'm like, hey, Mom, just so you know, we're leaving for the beach tomorrow, because like she didn't have any clue what was going on. So we're leaving for the beach tomorrow, Mom. I just wanted to come in and tell you that, like, I love you. I'll text you when I get there safe. If you guys need anything, please let me know. Feel free to reach out. And then I gave her a little hug. She didn't hug me back, didn't say I love you. All she said was have fun. That's all I got out of my mom. After not talking for 3 weeks, and now I'm about to leave for 10 more days. So that was really hard for me to hear, just because my mom didn't tell me she loved me. I don't remember the last time my mom told me that she loved me. And that's really hard for me because there's two people in your life that you should really always be able to rely on, and that's your parents. Because your parents are never not going to be your parents. Some kids don't have siblings, which makes it a little harder. Some kids don't have really great friends, but your parents are always going to be your parents no matter what. So being in that situation, I turned to God, and over the beach trip, I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and I opened up to so many guys. I opened up to Elliot, opened up to Zach, opened up to Josh, opened up to Will to try to figure out what is my next move. Because at this point, God is leading me in the direction of I have to help my relationship with my parents. And in order to do that, I have to be the bigger man and go get what needs to happen, and I need to do it. So over the beach trip, I read my Bible, I pray, and like the hand that I'm being dealt is terrible, but I've got to make a play. So when I get home, it's been about a week or two since we got back. It's Saturday night, we're out late, and then I don't want to get in trouble with my parents, and we're out past my curfew, which is midnight. So I turn my location off on Life 360, and when I do that, I know that I'm sneaking and lying, which is not good, but I'm like, okay. And then we get back to Zach's house that night, and I was super tired, super groggy, didn't really want to go home. I knew that was probably the right thing to do to go home, but I didn't do it. I slept over at Zach's house, and in the morning, I hadn't turned my location back on, so my parents had no clue where I was at. In the morning, we wake up, we do our little Bible study, and then I get a text from my parents, hey, Liam, we need you to come home. I'm like, okay, this is it. This is when, like, this conversation happens. This is the play. This is God showing me that I need to make something happen. So we go out to lunch, get food. I go back home, and I'm honestly nervous because this is an important conversation, and I have to make something happen. And I had been talking to so many people about this, talked to Mr. Jason, talked to Zach, talked to everyone. And when I got into that room, it felt almost eerie because it started off as like a conversation, a normal conversation you have with your parents after you get in trouble. Hey, we're disciplining you for 2 weeks. We're taking your keys. You're not going to be able to hang out. Whatever. My parents have always been that way. But this time it was a little bit different. I didn't come into that room looking for a discipline. I didn't come into that room. I mean, if I was disciplined, so what? But I came into that room to make a change. So with that, I took what I've been learning and took what Jesus has shown me, and I started asking questions. I started asking my parents, how is this going to benefit our relationship? Because as you guys can tell, our relationship isn't in the best place.
Right.
So I asked them all these questions, and I was digging deeper into them and getting emotional with them. And by doing that, it got to a point where my dad is 100% understanding me. He hears where I'm coming from, but my mom isn't. My mom has this huge wall built up and is refusing to listen to anything I'm saying. So at one point, my mom literally says to me, Liam, just go live your life if you want to. And that's another thing. My mom shouldn't be saying that to me. She should be the one that loves me, like I said earlier. But my mom said that, and that was hard to hear, but I told her that's not what I want out of our relationship. Because I want a relationship with them, and I want them to know where I'm at. But it's so hard to do that when they don't know what I want to do. We haven't talked. It's been like almost a month since we talked. So how are they supposed to know where I'm at? So I ask all these questions. We get to the end of the conversation, and I felt like the conversation went awesome. It was great. But that was probably 3 weeks ago now. Me and my dad are on a great page. He is encouraging me to detail. He's encouraging me to do what I love to do. But me and my mom are on the same page we were 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or a month ago. So, like, it's hard for me to know what's the next move now. Because I don't want to go off because I turned 18 in April, and my parents have said that they're going to kick me out. So I don't want to go off in April and just never talk to my parents ever again.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they have a love for me, and they're doing it in a passive-aggressive way to show me what they want to get out of me, which is the wrong way, but that's the hand that I've been dealt, so I'm going to have to do something with it. So it's been hard for me to see that I'm going to have to lead our relationship. in the Bible it says that your parents are supposed to lead your children's relationship. And your parents control every single little thing when you're a kid. When you're a baby, your parents control what you eat, where you eat, when you eat, how you eat. They control every single part of your life. And then as you start to get older, you start playing outside. You start doing stupid things. Every kid does.
Yeah.
But it's what your parents do with that. Do they try to lead you toward independence, or do they try to control you more? And for me, they've tried to control me since day one. Since day one, they've tried to control me. But
Yeah.
I asked them, just like I said in that conversation, one of the questions I asked them is, what are you trying to control now? You've lost contact with me for a month. What are you controlling? You're not controlling anything at that point. You've lost me.
Yeah.
And do you want to lose your son? No parent should say yes to that question. And it's hard. If they do, that's awful. And maybe you should turn your cheek and you should go the other direction. But you have to find a way to get emotional with your parents and show them that you love them so that they have to love you. Because as a man and as someone that should want to become a leader, you have to be able to lead that relationship even if no one else is going to.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the big part of my story. A bunch of next steps coming, but that's the big part for me.
So with that, you didn't really elaborate on why your parents are mad. So you told your story, but explain why. Like what started this? Because you grew up having a pretty solid relationship with your parents, did you not?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one day it flipped. Why is that? What was the decision that you made that they did not agree with and that has led to the whole story that you just heard?
Yeah, so the biggest thing has been, it's been college. It's been, their path is different than mine. And I feel like Jesus has led me on this path to be an entrepreneur and to really spread the gospel and show people what it looks like to be a follower of Jesus and be a disciple. But my parents want me to go down this little rabbit hole of college and the American dream, and you work for 50 years, you buy a boat, and you get a nice house.
I love you. I love the American dream analogy. I've said it multiple times on this podcast.
Absolutely.
If you listen, you know.
Yep. But they want me to go to college, and I don't want to go. Because I feel like in the 4 years that everyone else is going to be in college, I'm going to be grinding it out, and I'm going to start from day one, but I'm going to be so much further ahead when they're out of college. So that puts me ahead of everybody else, and that's what I feel is right for me. And my parents haven't seen that yet, but that's the biggest disconnect for us right now.
Right. And the thing with college is, like, I think college is great if your plans to be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, law enforcement, whatever that looks like. Yes, go to college, get the degree that you need, because otherwise you can't do what you want to do. But if that's not your plan, then you don't need to go to college. You're wasting $100,000, in going into debt for literally no reason, because you're gonna get a business degree that you're never gonna use. It's not gonna mean anything. So for someone with an entrepreneurial mind like Liam and myself and Will, and majority of our friend group is very entrepreneurial. Sorry, I can't say the word, but like, there's no need for us to go to college. For us to go to college would just be silly. It would be stupid. Like, we go in $100,000 into debt for no reason.
Waste of time.
Right, complete waste of time. And that's what his parents aren't understanding. That, because they grew up knowing American dream, because your mom's a nurse, right?
Yep.
And your dad works a corporate job, right? So, nurse, corporate job, went to college. They did what that used to be, because, I mean, that's what everyone did. But times are changing. Like, entrepreneurship was not as big of a thing back then, so they just don't understand. And then not only do they not understand, but they're not willing to understand. They have not, like, tried to open their minds. They have not put down their walls. They have their walls up, their way or the highway, which is not how you can do things. And as you see it, I mean, it affects you. But that's the hand Liam was dealt. Liam's not he's working for his faith. He's trying to become a better leader. And the hand he was dealt was shitty, honestly. It really is. And it sucks. It really sucks. But he's not letting it, destroy him. He's not being like, well, I'm going to be nothing because because my parents hate me. No, he's taking his situation. He's making the most out of it, which is what you have to do, because everyone's dealt a different hand. A lot of people are dealt very rough hands. You got to make the most of your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So for me, growing up was like a lot different than the people. At a very young age, I think I was like 8 or 9, my parents did get divorced, and like my dad was out of the house, and it was just me, my mom, and my siblings a lot. And it's like, me being homeschooled, I wanted to be like everybody else so bad, and I wanted to like go out there, find the new style, be like the cool kids because like I just felt like an insider, a lone kid. So I kind of like would push my family out. I'd push my mom out, and then as I stopped going to homeschool, because my mom controls the first 7 years of my first 6-7 years of my education. My dad controls the second, and my dad did want me to go to public school, and so then when I did go to public school, it was just like constant bullied, constant. What is Will wearing? Why is Will acting like this? What is Will doing? And that like really changed me of like, I didn't want to be like all these other homeschool kids. I was like, I'd start like putting myself away from like these other kids at like classical conversations, what I used to do. And I start trying to like blend in more and more. But that just kind of like made me push my old life away from me. And that old life was my family. So then I was kind of like being alone, being quiet in my house. Then I'd go to school, I'd be hype, and I'd like try to hype everybody up. And then like COVID would hit, and it was just like me alone in my room. And then that's like when the devil was attacking me the most in my life. That's when like I start struggling with lust. I start struggling with talking to women, my looks. I just like be overthinking about every single thing. And then like growing up, and then I started going to Chick-fil-A, started working at Chick-fil-A. And that's where I met Zach, met Josh. He's not here today. But at first, like everybody hated me at Chick-fil-A. Everybody hated me because Will, all I did was flirt with one girl. I didn't work at all. I just walk in. It's just another job.
Will cared about what the world thought of him, and that was it. So his appearance, he wore these glasses, and he just looked dorky.
Yeah, I wore these
but
glasses
he
that
thought
I
he
didn't
was
need.
cute, and
I thought I was trying to be cute, trying to be cool, and then I just flirt with people, and I didn't have any motivational drive at all. And then as I started working there more and more, started talking to Caleb, started talking to Zach, started talking to Josh, and they kind of like brought me in. So I was kind of like a lost fish at sea, caught me in the net and just bring me in. It's like this living water that helped me so much. It was like a complete different lifestyle that I've never seen before. And at first I was like, this is kind of weird. I don't know where to go with this. And then the more they showed me like how they could reflect Jesus and still have this motivational drive to be better, to rank up at Chick-fil-A, to rank up in the world. And it's like, that just like had a major impact on me from where I was of never having any drive to now I see all the other people getting it and now I'm not getting it. And then after that initial summer where we hang out, then Liam and other friend Ryan started working at Chick-fil-A. And then Liam and Ryan came to Chick-fil-A and they started going after it, especially Liam. Liam just like started getting it. And then me seeing Liam do that was like, all right, Liam's getting it at Chick-fil-A. I'm not going anywhere. So then I like flipped a switch in Chick-fil-A. But then I only flipped the switch in Chick-fil-A. So I'd only start trying in Chick-fil-A. So I'd wake up, go to school, go to Chick-fil-A, grind. And I'd grind Chick-fil-A, but I wouldn't grind anything else in my life. So then, me and Liam going like, it was kind of like head for head. He got something, I get something, I got something, he'd rank up. And then I was just focusing on work so much. And then in last October, I was wrestling my brother because we got into a big argument. And I was just like super mad, grabbed him, took him down, hit my shoulder on like the wall. It was like the wall and like where the floor. And my shoulder's like dislocated, popped out. I was like freaking out, went to the hospital. It's like 12. The doctor put it back in at like 3. So it was out for like 3 hours of like this worst pain in my life. Crazy story. And that just kind of like limited me. Now I can't work. So now it's just me and myself at home in my sling. I have no drive at all. And that's like really hit me. So now I fell back down again, where I fell into lust. I fell harder for women. I'd fall harder into just being lazy. And then as I slowly started recovering, I started going back to work. And then I started getting at work again. But then that wasn't enough for me. Like I wanted more. I saw Zach was growing spiritually. I saw Liam was growing spiritually. I saw Josh was growing spiritually. And I like wanted that so much, but I didn't know how to do it. And then deep talks, like eventually I started like learning how to grow myself spiritually. And then like the Lord's path, like from them to now has been absolutely crazy. Because like that first time where I dislocated my shoulder, I did like nothing. I was just like laying in my bed all day. Poor me. Oh, why do I have this horrible life? And then beginning of summer, I dislocated my shoulder again. Like right before everybody's like playing sports. Just got back into sports. Got back and going to the gym. And everybody's doing it. And then it happened again. But this time it's like I didn't feel that woe is me. this sucks. This time I was like, I'm gonna do what I should have done the first time, and I want to get after it. So the first like week was kind of slow, but then that's like where I was like closest to God. And then I fasted once or twice, and that got me closer to God. And then from then to now, I just got back in the gym a little bit. Have to get surgery, so I'm gonna be out for even longer. But from then to now, it's like I've grown so much just from taking the situation where taking the crappy situation I was given, and I flipped that switch. I flipped that switch in my spiritual life, my mental life, my physical life. And ever since then, it's just been like a smooth train of going up. And I still get off the track sometimes, you know, everybody does. We all stumble, but it's actively trying to get up every single day is what keeps me going. Just that idea of having that relationship with the Lord and nurturing other people is just, that's what like really keeps me going in life, is that ability to help other people. And that's my story.
Yeah, I want you to elaborate a little more on the hand you were dealt, because you explained a lot of like what the past months have looked like for your development, but like I want everyone to understand like the hand you were dealt. Let's financially. You already mentioned your parents' divorce and what it's been like growing up, and then I want you to talk about your mother and talk about the situation recently.
Gotcha.
And talk about what that progression of your relationship has looked like. Just it's very good perspective. You have a very good story.
Yeah. So when my parents did get divorced, it's kind of like when two parents are making the same income, they're able to like make better financial decisions. But when my dad left, he's kind of like, my mom was just there working her job, getting paid like minimum wage. So like most of my life living with my mom, because I have been at my mom's house, like most of my time, it's just been, I haven't had all these other things other kids have. We're kind of like in the lower middle class, poor or family. My mom like has been very bad with like financially like making decisions. And that, like I said earlier with like in middle school, I just kind of like pushed my mom away. So a lot of times I just was not in the house with my mom. And that's when I started like, I do things behind my mom's back. I'd lie to her. A couple years ago, I had a nicotine addiction for a year and a half. And I just do things behind my mom's back. And then beginning of this year, when I started strengthening my relationship with the Lord, I started having that relationship with my mom again. And it was like something I never had before. It was like, wow, this is like what it really feels like to have a relationship with my mom where she just listened to me. And then year progresses, get to the summer, and then we go on this like the beach trip that Liam was talking about. And I felt like I left for the beach trip knowing I had like a solid relationship that was growing with my mom. And then go to the beach trip, accidentally post something I shouldn't have posted, get back, and my mom just like loses her shit on me, starts flipping out. And then a couple like weeks before that, I feel like the Lord is just calling me to be an open book. And that's what I have been recently. And since that moment is an open book. So like anybody can ask me anything about my past. And like, instead of hiding it and tucking it away in that corner, trying to forget about it, I'll be open. I'll like let people know my past so they can like learn from it. So then I was very open to my mom in that conversation when I got back from the beach. And that fueled her anger for me. And at the moment I was like, all right, I'm being open with my mom. I'm letting her know I made these mistakes, letting her know about my sexual past, my sexual morality, the things I do. And I was like, I was hoping it was like going to strengthen our relationship even more. But that's not what it did. She just like got really mad at me, started screaming at me. Then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go talk to my dad. Cause my dad, he's always been like a chill kind of guy. Hasn't been really a Christian, but I know like tells me all the time, if I need to go to his house or something, I can go. So I was like, I'm just gonna get out of the house for maybe a day or two, go to my dad's house, have him come pick me up. So like told my mom, I don't think this is working. You just yelling at me this whole time. So I'm gonna go call my dad. So then I walked out my room to call my dad. And before I can even call my dad, my mom whips out her phone and calls my dad real quick. And then, so then I'm walking down the street of my house, walking down my driveway, walking down the street, and just waiting for my dad to call me. And I call my dad, tell my dad that I want to talk to him. And my mom's just inside having this conversation with my dad about all the bad things I've done. And she was stretching every single thing I did and like being really dramatic about it and just making me like telling my dad all these bad things I've been doing all at once and just like throwing it at him about, he's going to call you, but don't listen to him. He's lying. And then my dad did call me, and my dad just yelled at me too. And then I had nowhere to go at that point. I was just walking down the road. I had a backpack on. I had my phone in my hand. It was about to die. Walked to the Publix, plugged it in. First person I called was Zach. Second person I called was my friend Ryan. Third person I called was Josh. Then I called my friend Elliot. And I called Zach's dad, Mr. Jason. And because I didn't know what else to do, I was so like lost because I thought I had this strong relationship with my mom. And then all of a sudden, it's just gone. And so got that situation and kind of figured out a little bit. Went back home a little bit later. Told my mom I'd talk to her tomorrow. Talked to her the next day. She was just still screaming at me. And for like 3 or 4 days straight, it was just constant anger that was getting thrown at me. And like I was so emotionally beat down. And I was so like sad inside. It's like I had like nothing. I just felt like everything was torn out of my life. And then eventually I just like gave in to my mom. Like she wanted to punish me so bad. She wanted to take away all these things. And she's like, I was like, all right, I can't keep on living like this. I want a relationship with my mom. So if it means that I have to agree to this punishment for the next 4 weeks, then I'll do it. And in the moment, now looking back in that moment, there was definitely more I could have said to maybe lighten the punishment, things I could have done better. But at that time, I was just so emotionally beat down that I just like submitted. I was like, all right, I signed a piece of paper. My mom just wrote down these things. And then I was on like this month list. It was like the last month of summer, I'm grounded. So I had so much like anger that just kept on getting built up towards my mom. And I had to be home at 8 every day. So someone had to come drive me home. I could only out for 5 hours. And my mom would be on like my location. She'd be yelling at me. And then it just got so hard for me to keep on doing that. And then past kind of week of the punishment, things kind of lightened up. My mom, she stopped using so much emotion. She started having some more logical conversations with me. And that kind of helped our relationship a little bit. But then we had a big conversation, kind of like how Liam and his parents had like a big conversation about how my future is going to look. My mom's like admitting to things that she could have done better. It was me, my mom, and my mom's boyfriend, Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark's a wise guy. And he was kind of helping to guide the conversation. And then my mom said all these things she's going to do better. And then it just hasn't happened, Like Liam said, like us kids shouldn't be the one leading the relationship. And I feel like that's what it's been ever since the beginning of this year. I've been leading the relationship with my mom. And then as soon as my mom isn't happy, I keep trying to lead, but she doesn't want to accept anything. And then she's saying she'll do things, but then it hasn't happened. And now I'm off that punishment. And now it's kind of things are going back to normal. And yeah. So like our relationship is just still like kind of deteriorated. It's like decayed. And like I'll try to like help it here and there, but the biggest thing that I learned from it is it's all God's plan. And that's like been my biggest like discipline and motivation will give her is like it's God's plan. If it's in God's plan for me and my mom to have a relationship, it's gonna happen. But you can't just let God's plan know that God has a plan and just sit back and on the couch every day and just take a nap. You gotta still be ambitious towards your goals and the goals that God put before you. So that's what I've been doing this past like a week or two. So I've been doing and that like idea that God's plan is there for me, I just have to get to it, has been a crazy like discipline giver, motivational giver. It's like every single morning, hitting the gym now. Never been as consistent as I was in my life as I am right now. And God used that hard time with my mom to bring me out of it. And when he bring me out of it, it's like I saw so many things so differently. And now I'm growing more than I ever have. I'm like locked in. I have discipline. I'm doing these things. And obviously, we all fall down. Everybody stumbles. Yeah. But I've been growing so much. And God just really used that crappy relationship with my mom and that anger that she had towards me to bring me out and to show me like a completely different plan than I ever thought. And that's been really good.
Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding.
Amen.
Sits right on my leg right here.
Amen.
Because your understanding doesn't mean anything. I mean, you have no idea what your plan looks like for your life. You try to live your life according to your plan, you're gonna fail every single time.
Yeah.
No shot. So you trust in the Lord with all your heart,
Yeah.
which means don't just like, all right, God's got this, but I'm still gonna be anxious. I'm still gonna worry about it because you're not trusting Him with all your heart. That means giving it to Him. That means taking your shitty situation that you were put in and by birth that God put you in. You take that and you give it to Him, and you just work every single day to try to make yourself better and grow. That's trusting in the Lord with all of your heart, because He doesn't say trust in the Lord and lean not to your understanding. He says trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Like you have to fully give that to Him, because when you give it to Him, everything's gonna fall into place because it's His plan.
And a lot of people, like I said a second ago, they think, all right, it's the Lord's plan. This is the hand I was dealt. God will figure it all out. But a verse that's really stuck out to me recently is Ecclesiastes 4-6. Farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. If they watch every cloud, they never harvest. Just as you cannot understand the path of wind or mystery of a tiny baby growing in its mother's womb, so you cannot understand the activity of God, who does all things. Plant your seed in the morning, keep busy all afternoon, for you do not know if profit will come from one activity or another, or maybe both. And that really sticks out to me with you can't just let, like, say God has a plan. You have to wake up every morning. You have to plant those seeds. You have to get after it. Stay busy all afternoon. And a lot of kids these days, and a lot of me, happens to all of us all the time, where we'll fall into this laziness and like this lazy aspect. And that verse is always like, recently has just helped me like keep going, keep that discipline, keep that motivation.
What verse is that?
This was Ecclesiastes 11:4-6.
I've got a good one too.
It's great. Let's hear it, Liam.
I really like this one. It really sticks out to me because it's Jesus Himself. It's John 13:6-7. It says, "He came to Simon Peter, who said to Him, 'Lord, are you going to wash my feet?' Jesus replied, 'You do not realize what I'm doing now, but later you will understand.'" That one really hits deep with me because Jesus, the Lord, was cleaning someone else's feet.
Yeah.
He was sitting there washing someone else's feet like a servant. Jesus, our almighty God, was washing someone else's feet. And He tells him, "You don't understand what I'm doing now, but you'll understand later." That's
beautiful.
That's everything.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is everything. You don't understand what Jesus is doing right now because you're never going to. You'll
Right.
never understand. Why is Jesus dealing me this hand? Why are my parents not talking to me? Why this? Why that? Why is my business not going good? Why did I not get hired for this job? Jesus has a plan for you. Jesus has a plan for every single one of us. Jesus didn't have me run into Will and Zach for no reason. Jesus didn't give me my parents for no reason. It's all part of God's plan. And looking past that, like Zach said earlier, you're going to get nowhere doing that. Or I don't know if Zach or Will, but whoever said it, you're going to get nowhere doing that. You have to trust in God with all your heart and lean
Not into
Not
your own
into your own
understanding.
understanding.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
It all connects.
I love that verse. That's really good because, like, Jesus is washing a guy's feet. Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God. Like, He's a king. He's the king of the earth. He's washing some guy's feet.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand what He's doing, but later, you don't understand now, but you will understand later what He's doing. That's beautiful. He's sitting there washing a guy's feet. For, like, no means would I go wash some random guy's feet.
Right.
But Jesus did. Because Jesus saw Himself. This is a very good point too. Jesus didn't see Himself as the King, the Messiah. He's like, I am the Son of God. Like, I am one with God. He saw Himself as, I am a human. I'm just like the rest of them. Yes, He was perfect, but He didn't sit up here and try to teach. He came down to their level and tried to teach, which is actually exactly what we're trying to do right now. Because it's easy to get caught up in, like, this is a leadership podcast. Like, we have it all figured out, but we do not. Like, I'm just going to be so real with you. We do not. The point of this podcast is me and my brother and my friend group, we're trying every single day to be more like Jesus and to become better leaders of ourselves and each other and of the world. And this is the documentation of our journey. We're showing you what we learned, what we know, what our developments looked like, how our relationship with Christ has looked like, what our hands were dealt and how we've dealt with them. we're not this. We don't sit up here and we don't talk down to you guys because that's not what this podcast is for. Like, I really want to reiterate that. The point of this podcast is to understand and to be with you and see if we can walk this journey together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Same way Jesus did. Jesus walked that journey with all the humans together. He taught from down here, not up here, because he knows, yes, he's up here, but I mean, I can't sit down here. I can't dictate you like, Will, you have to do this. No, I have to come down. I have to understand. I have to reason with you.
And another great point that I want to bring up, I think Will brought it up earlier, but didn't really dig deep into it, and I really want to get into it, is Jesus dealt you this hand, but you have to find your fuel in life.
Yes.
Some people, like me and Will, are dealt a terrible hand, which is easy for us to find fuel because our parents have been so terrible to us. Our fuel is to find...
No, it's not easy to find the fuel.
No, it's not easy to find the fuel, but the fuel, once you find it, it's there. But
like, you have it, but you have to understand. Well, you have to come to the realization that it is fuel.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
at first you're gonna think, oh
This is
well,
terrible.
I'm just a piece of shit. Like, I have no future. Like, this is what I was dealt. This other guy, my neighbor Bill, he's rich. He has great parents. He's rich. He's got great hair that's coming for him. He's gonna have a great job. He's going to a great college. Like, I can't be better than him. But that's not it. You have to understand that he was dealt that hand for a reason, because he's going to have his own stuff that he's going to have to deal with, and same with you.
Yeah.
And you have to find that. You have to understand and recognize that the hand you're dealt and the shit that you go through, that is your fuel. It's first recognizing.
Yeah, and there's so many like great people out there, so many successful people out there who came from such a shitty background, like a hard life. Like, you look at David Goggins, his dad like beat him as a kid every single day. You even look at Jesus. Jesus was a carpenter for 30 years, making like tables, carpentry. I don't really know.
Jesus washed people's feet.
Right.
Yeah. Jesus came down like, Jesus didn't have the best hand either, but look what he did. Jesus changed the world for forever. Jesus gave us that way out, that way to him.
Yeah. And one of the biggest examples that I want to bring up is one of our best friends, Jonathan. He's been my best friend for the longest time. We've known each other since freshman year. We played baseball together. We played baseball together for the longest time. And
Jonathan's a code name, by the way.
Yeah, Jonathan's a code name. But he has awesome parents. His parents are fantastic.
Yeah.
And they've led him in the right direction. They've given him a great path. But he doesn't have his fuel yet. So it's been hard for us who are growing and we have our fuel and we know what motivates us. It's been hard for us to lead him because he doesn't have any fuel, any motivation. And with no motivation, where are you going to be?
Yeah.
You're going to sleep in. You're going to be lazy. You're going to slack off in your work. You're going to slack off in whatever you're like passionate about. So for him, finding that fuel has been hard. For us, the fuel seems like really, really bad, but it's been thrown in our face.
Yeah.
So even if you're listening to this and you're in an awesome situation and you don't relate to me or Will at all, there is fuel for you somewhere. Whether that's the way you grew up, whether that was school, whether that was having no friends, everyone's fuel is different.
Right.
Even me and Will, who are in such similar situations, our fuel is different.
Yeah.
So it's not about the good or the bad in the situation. It's about what do you do with it.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times, like how we've been training with like past couple minutes, is like fuel is motivation. It's like fuel isn't necessarily motivation. That's like your discipline. Because with motivation will only get you so far. But like that fuel that you're using,
motivation is a lot of BS.
Like, you watch like a motivational video on Instagram or TikTok, and then you're like, oh yeah, dude, that's gonna be me one day. It's like we have one friend who's like, every single time I'm on Reels and like I'm seeing these motivational videos, it says liked by this person in the bottom, liked by this person in the bottom. But then you look at him and it's like he's watching these motivational videos, but he's not going anywhere. So motivation will only get you so far. It's that discipline, and like you turn that fuel into discipline that like will get you in the long run. Because like discipline will get you so far in life.
Absolutely.
Self-discipline.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest lessons that I've been taught by Mr. Jason, Zach's dad, is patient aggression. And let me break that down for you. Patience is awesome. And having patience is one of the biggest things you'll ever learn in your life. And it'll be
Patience
awesome.
is a virtue.
Patience is a virtue. And you'll have that forever. But being patient is waiting for God's plan and letting him see through you, seeing through the lenses of God. But you have to also get up every day and you have to go get it. You have to go grind it out. You have to go go to the gym, be motivated. Like Will said in that verse, if you don't plant the seed, God will never grow it.
Yeah.
So you have to wake up in the morning, work through the afternoon, like he said in Ecclesiastes.
Plant your seed.
And that's
every
the
single
aggression.
morning.
You have to be patient, wait for God's plan, but you have to plant your seed in the morning. So that's an awesome thing that I've been taught and I live by right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with our friend Jonathan and just in general, it's like you can look at their situation, right? Really crappy. And in our friend group, we come from literally all different situations and different things.
Crazy backgrounds.
Theirs is so simple what their motivation is and what should drive them. It's that he wants to prove his parents wrong because his parents right now think he's going to be a loser. They think he's going to be a failure because he's not going to college. So his motivation is honor them and prove them wrong. Show them what I can do through Jesus, with Jesus, because like you said, you've had Jesus from the beginning, and this is what I can do with him, and in the end, you'll still have Jesus. Mm-hmm. You have that as your fuel, and you're trying to make it out your situation. Mm-hmm. But for someone like me, because obviously, reference my dad a lot, and you had him on the podcast. Great guy. My parents are great. My mom's amazing. Like these guys see them as second parents, basically.
Yeah, father figure. Mr. Jason, father figure. Miss Kelly, mother figure.
Absolutely.
They fill the gaps of the parents, our parents. At least for me, I don't know, it's fully for you, but it's they kind of we're just cracks in my mom, my dad. It's they come and kind of fill them in and kind of they're so hospital, is that the word? Hospitality?
Yeah, hospitable.
Every time they come over, Miss Kelly is get you something to eat. I remember one time where we went out to go get food at Dos Bros, this place down the street, and I just so when I first looked at my shoulder, I didn't want to spend any money. I was really hungry, but I was I'll just find something at Zach's house. And then I walk in upstairs, really kind of beat down that I'm hungry. Because when I get hungry, I get mad. That's my biggest thing. So
this is when he dislocated his shoulder and the second time, and he knew he wasn't going to be able to work, so he didn't have money.
Yeah.
Or he wasn't going to try to spend his money on eating out with us.
Mm-hmm. And then I came upstairs, and then Mr. Jason, Miss Kelly, they just cooked them up some tacos, brisket tacos, in the sauce. And then Mr. Jason, the first thing he says when I come up is Will, you want some tacos? And I'm hell yeah, I want some tacos. And then Mr. Jason gets up from what he's doing. He's reading his book, gets up, goes make me get the quesadilla, the cheese, put it on there, makes me 4 tacos. And then that moment, I wanted to cry because it was I was so emotional from not eating. And then Mr. Jason just came in and took care of me. So like we were saying, Zach's parents are just crazy figures in our life that really help us.
Yeah. But so with that being said, I come from a great situation family wise, but that doesn't mean my life has been perfect. Doesn't mean I'm this great Christian, I'm this great guy. Because majority of my life, I've always believed, because my parents have always based our life and our everything on religion, not religion, on Jesus, and everything goes back to him growing up. But I was never really had a connection with him, and realizing when my eyes were open to how miserable my life was without a connection with Jesus, that was my fuel. Because I stopped going to I've told this story before, but I stopped going to public high school, and I didn't drop out, but I left the high school, and I went back to being homeschooled for the rest of my senior year. And that opened my eyes because I was so stuck in my routines, and I literally wake up, go to school, go to work, go to sleep, do it again every single day. And I didn't realize it, but having all that, taking all that sin away from myself, being in that environment, and I was really able to see, dude, my relationship with Jesus sucks. It's terrible. I'm not where I want to be. My relationship with Jesus sucks. My relationship with my parents sucks because, like they said, my parents are great, but I've treated them like crap for the longest time. For most of my life, because I had these demons, I had these walls built up. I didn't want people to know the real me, and I hid myself, and I had no relationship with Jesus. I believed in him and I knew him, but I didn't pray, I didn't read my Bible, I didn't do anything to further my relationship with him. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I realized what my life could look like with him, and what it looked like without him. And without him, I was miserable. I was unhappy. I wasn't depressed because personally, I don't really believe in that. But besides the point, but I was a very unhappy person. I lived in my sin. I lived in my lust and all these other things that I was doing. Yeah. And it wasn't until I realized I started like actually praying to God and trying to get closer to him, and I started building somewhat of a relationship. I realized, oh my gosh, there's so much light at the end of the tunnel, when before I saw no light. Like I was stuck in the middle of the tunnel, in the middle of the ocean, on a ship with no motor. I was literally sitting there just coasting, floating. And it wasn't until I got that motor and I could like see the land. I could see shore. I could see that the path is Jesus, and with Jesus I can get there. So every day I try to get closer to God. I try to grow my relationship with him, and I fall down. I fall back into lustful habits, and every day I'm trying better and better to get, to combat that. But that's my fuel. My fuel is different because I had a whole different situation than these guys did. Theirs comes a lot from their struggles at home. Mine's coming from inner demons that I've had to overcome myself.
Yeah. And I feel like so many people, like where you said you were a second ago before, like you saw how miserable your life was. That's so many people's life. But then outwardly to other people, they're posting Christian content. They're going to church. My favorite thing is like lukewarm Christians, check the box Christians. We say that all the time. And so many people, like outwardly they're like Christians, but then they'll go home and then they'll live in their sin. They'll swim in their sin. They'll go to parties. They'll get drunk. They'll go home. They'll jerk off. They'll go fall into like these lustful things. And it's like they're living in their sin, but they're going to church, so everything's great. But it's like that's not what the Lord calls to do. It's like turn away from your sin. I feel like that's so many kids nowadays is just living inside the sin. It's so hard to watch.
I've got a great verse or a great little story out of the Bible that I want to read for you guys that is kind of just breaking all this down and showing you what it really looks like. And this is Matthew 4. I'll read.
Oh God, Matthew's my favorite book in the Bible. It's fantastic. Sermon on the Mount, greatest thing ever.
I'll read like 5 through 9. I'll tell you how much I get to at the end, whenever it stops getting good. Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. If you're the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Jesus answered him, it is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. That was 4 through 7.
That's insane, bro.
Do not put the Lord.
Do not put the Lord your God to the test. You can't. You're never going to be able to pray to God and say, if you're real, show me. If you're real, show me.
Like, why'd you put me in this situation? Get me out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
If you can put me in such a horrible situation, you should be able to get me out of this horrible situation.
Which he can, but that comes from you.
Right.
That comes from the relationship that you're building with him, and the steps that you take to better yourself and to grow yourself out of that terrible like situation that you're in, and that comes from you. Don't put him to the test. Don't say, God, you got this. Like trust the Lord with all your heart doesn't mean God's gonna take care of it for you. You can sit back and relax. Yeah. Like actually you were saying in the beginning.
Yeah.
It means give your problems, give your situation to the Lord with all of your heart. Know that he's gonna do the work. He's going to actually make the change, and you have a good quote for this. He's going to make the change, but you have to put in the work. You have to plant that seed.
You have to plant that seed.
Yeah.
You have to plant the seed, and God will grow the seed.
And the reality of it is, when you're putting God to the test, he's probably already shown you 1,000 things. He's probably already put people in your life, and you've rejected them. He's probably shown you signs, and you've rejected them.
Yep.
So the reality of it is, God has shown you. He's not going to throw it in your face. He will never, if you pray for patience or you pray for forgiveness or you pray for something, he's not just going to give you patience.
He's not a
or
genie.
Give you forgiveness.
Yeah.
He will never do that. He's going to throw annoying people into your life. He's going to throw something in your life you're going to have to be patient about. So if you're not patient, that's on you. That God has done all he can do. Like Zach said, he's not a genie. He's not magical. So Will, give us your quote.
Yeah. So favorite quote. Heard it a couple times. It's kind of like the full kind of just a quote. You plant seeds and you water them, but God makes them grow. And that like hits so deep because that's also like shit, like going out into other people's lives. Like we have like there's so many people that have been in my life, and so many people that like we have conversations with. They get close to us, and it's like we can plant seeds in them, and we keep on pouring into them. We keep on watering these seeds, but God's the only one that can make them grow.
Right.
And we had this one friend, Sam. That's another.
No, that's Sam.
I was Sam in the previous podcast.
Yeah,
just
not
so you
previous,
guys know.
before the beach, episode 7, where we talked about the man in the arena, and we told the story about our friend Sam.
Yep.
Fun fact: Sam is sitting right here for you.
It's me. I'm Sam.
That boy Liam.
All right, I'll use a different name. Hank.
I like
I like
Hank.
Hank.
I like Hank.
Alright.
Let's do it.
So we have one friend, Hank, and he's just like recent to our group in these past couple months, and we've
Fear
planted
God?
seizing him.
Fear God.
Fear God, and that's the tattoo he has, whatever. But
I was just trying to figure out who it was.
yeah, I know. But so we've planted seeds in him. We've been pouring him. We've been watering that seed, and he's been coming to Bible study. We've been helping him grow. But then we've been like giving him things to grow, but God will choose His time to grow, and that's not right now because like we're like pouring into Him, but we're just like pouring into a strainer. There's like holes at the bottom, and He's just kind of like letting that out, letting that things that we're giving Him out, and not like pouring back into us. And so God, it's like it's really hard to see that because like I've known this guy like my whole entire life, and it's really hard to see him kind of like go like that. But that's God's plan. Like we just got to keep on pouring into Him. We got to keep on planting those seeds, and then God will make them grow.
Yeah.
Which is so deep.
That's beautiful. One thing that I want to add to that is, although this guy Hank, he's not like in our tight group anymore, but you should not have any hatred for the people like that. You should not have any remorse or anything. When you see them in the grocery store, when you see them at the gym, say what's up. That's watering.
Show them the love of Jesus.
Yeah, that's watering the seed.
Yep.
God is, their time to grow is in God's hands. But you, anytime you have any opportunity you have to water that seed, do it. Go get it. Water that seed whenever you can, because the more water, God's gonna grow it at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I agree. I wanted to go back a little bit. It's like kind of backtrack just a slight bit, but when we were talking about like God's not a genie, right?
Mhm.
I want to give an example of like how
I think
I've prayed for stuff. No, I don't think you know where this is going, but how I've prayed for stuff and how God's given it to me, because I can see it now. At first I didn't see it, and it was a really hard time for me, but I pray almost every day. I ask God, like, God, make me the leader that you want me to be. You put me on this earth to be a leader. I know that. Like, me and him have had that talk. I know I'm on this earth to lead people and to bring people to heaven with me. I was like, God, I pray for him to make me the leader that you want me to be. And what does he do? He brings me you two, and he brings me Jonathan. He brings me Jonathan and you two. And like, we call this, because I think we've talked about this before, but our friend group's like about 9, and we're split right now 5 and 4, and there's 4 of us here. So I'm kind of like, I see myself as kind of like the leader of this group. I'm like working on my leadership, trying to help them through their situations. And I've prayed so much for them for God to make me that leader. And what they did is they brought me these two, and like they have their problems, and I'm trying to help them through it. I'm trying to lead them to lead themselves. Like, that has been my goal, my duty for the last 3-4 months that, my brother left and all that. It's just been me. It's been on me. So I prayed for God, make me stronger, give me this, give me the wisdom, give me the leadership ability. And what he did is he answered that prayer, but he wasn't like, all right, Zach, you're a leader now.
Yeah.
It was, Zach, you're going to learn how to be a leader, and I'm going to give you these test dummies on how to become a leader, basically.
Yeah. It's exactly the same thing for me, but it's in a little bit of a different situation, because I've always seen Zach as like a role model. I look up to Zach. I see him as like someone that's going to lead me down the right path always, because he's always been that for me. And a few weeks ago, like we were talking about with Jonathan, he was falling into this laziness and falling into this, like, he was unaccomplished and he wasn't doing anything. He was falling short in work, falling short in the gym. And then like the day hit where I was like, we got to do something about this. So me and Zach have a conversation. We talked to Mr. Jason. We talked to all these people about what we need to do next. And Mr. Jason basically, or I think you presented it as, Liam, this is your chance to lead.
Yeah, that's me.
You need to lead this situation, because like I told you guys, I've known Ryan for the longest, and I think me and Ryan have the deepest connection. What?
Jonathan.
No, Jonathan for the longest, yeah.
Oh,
So, like,
dude.
y'all have like the biggest
I just
connection.
cooked it.
It's all right. Let's call him Jonathan. Let's go back to Jonathan.
All right,
Go back
well,
to Jonathan.
well, we can edit that part out, right?
I'll look into it. See if I can get a smooth transition. If not, enjoy this uncut podcast.
All right. Well, Jonathan, this is your time to lead Jonathan and show him what's right and show him what he needs to do, because like I had this same thing going on before the beach where I was lazy and unaccomplished and I wasn't feeling anything. Me and Will have had this detailing business that I talked about for about 6 months now, and we haven't done anything with it. We didn't detail a car that wasn't one of our friends until probably 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But since then, we've probably detailed, I think, 15 cars?
15.
20
Yeah.
cars since then in the last 3 weeks. And it's been a complete game changer. So I had to dig in and show Ryan that this is what I've been...
Again, show Jonathan that's what you like.
I had to show Jonathan that this is what I've done over the last few weeks. And this is how you should go about it. And now, Jonathan, he's been in the gym almost every day. He's reading his book. He told me today. Actually, today we were detailing someone's car, and he calls me. I'm like, "What's going on, Ryan?" I was like, "What's going on, Jonathan?" God. All right. Well, God, this is
His name's freaking Ryan. His name is Ryan. Let's just go.
We're just gonna call him right now.
all right. Sorry, it just fits so well in the situation. It's hard
Yeah.
to go with this code
It's
name.
hard.
'Cause I'm just flowing.
Dude, me and Josh, when me and Josh tell the stories, we get really good with the code names. Like we get engraved. Hank, Steve, Bill.
Yeah.
We're really good at it, but it's hard.
His name's Ryan. So he called me today. Man, what you up to? Me and Will we're detailing a car right now. You can come if you want to, just because we were at Zach's grandma's house, so we were someone we knew, so he could come sit around and do whatever he wanted to do. And he told me word for word, this is what he said: "I'm gonna stay home and be productive, Liam." And that really spoke to me because, like Zach said, I don't want to call him a test dummy, but that's my guy.
It's you proving yourself.
I built him to say, I'm going to stay home and be productive. And that feels really good to be able to lead in that relationship, even if it's something so small as him saying, I'm going to be productive today. That hits deep, and I love that. So I encourage all you guys to go out, and if someone's seeking your leadership, lead them.
To seek wise counsel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lead them. Show them what it looks like. Show them what you've done. Just like we just showed all you guys what we've done, what we've been through, and where we are now. Go show everyone else. Be an open book to everyone that's around you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned in the past 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Be an open book.
And like you were saying, like you pray for patience, God gives you an anointing person. Zach was saying he was praying for leadership, and then God sent me and Liam so he could lead us. And when you pray for those things, like I said, God's just not gonna snap and give it to you. He's gonna give you like trials and problems to deal with. Like he was saying, like now Liam had to like work on Jonathan, work on Ryan, whatever, and Zach had to work on us. It's like it's my favorite verse right now is Romans 5:3-5, and it says, "We can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know they help us develop endurance, and endurance develops strength of character, and character strengthens our confident hope of salvation. And this hope will not lead to disappointment, for we know how dearly God loves us, because he has given us the Holy Spirit to fill our hearts with his love." And it's like,
That's beautiful.
pray for these things.
I love that.
And God's gonna give you problems and trials, and it's so easy to be like, "Oh God, I don't want to talk to this person," but it's like God gave you that person, that problem, that trial in your life, so you can get that character, get that endurance, strengthen your confident hope of salvation. It's like that's what, like when you pray for things, that's what it's like all about.
Yeah.
God's just gonna give you things to work on you. Which I think it's like has always spoken to me ever since I saw that verse. It's been like, dang.
If having a relationship with Jesus was easy and you had to do no work for it, you're just like, all right, I believe in God. John 3:16, for God so loved the world, gave his only begotten son, so that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. All right, I believe in him. That's it. Everyone would do it. And a lot of people do that, and they think that's it. But it's not. It's in depth. It's not supposed to be easy. He put you on this earth to grow closer to him every single day and to grow towards your purpose that he gave you. So I really like that. That's really good. I want to share my verse really quick, and it's going to be Jeremiah 29 verses 11-12. And it says, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen. I will listen to you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
A
deep.
verse that goes along with that, I think it's in Galatians, talks about he predestined you. You're
Yeah.
predestined on this world. So if you're predestined, that means God knew you before this earth was even created. It's 2024 right now. God knew Liam, Will, Zach, you guys in 2024 millions of years ago. Before we can even fathom. We can't even fathom how long it was since he's known that we were going to be 18, 17, and 17 sitting on this couch in 2024.
Right.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. That's fantastic. All right. You guys got any closing statements? We're about, 58 minutes in.
One more thing I like to say, like kind of what Liam was going on, like how God, like, he knew you from like beginning of like ever, and when Jesus was up there with God before Jesus came down, it's like it says in the Bible. I think it might be, I can't remember the exact verse, but it's like Jesus knows every single grain of sand, blade of grass. He has like a relationship with like everything, and he knows all the stars in the skies and everything. So it's like some people think, oh, God just didn't choose me to be great, but it's like God has such an intricate and delicate plan for your life that like you can't even imagine how like precise God's plan is for you. Like everybody has, like God has a plan for every single person. Like God is everywhere at once. The devil can only one place at once, but God is everywhere at once. Like putting these people, giving you problems, giving you trials, putting you in these situations, giving you thing. But God has such an intricate plan for you, and He's known it forever.
Yeah.
So don't take that lightly.
That's awesome. I love that. I just want to close it out with find your fuel. You
Amen.
find your fuel.
Yeah.
God will lead you in the right direction.
That's right.
Amen.
And Proverbs, I think 7 it says. Or no, maybe it's Matthew 7. Oh, shit.
That's okay.
I can't
Okay,
remember.
whatever.
Besides the point. But seek and you'll find, knock and door shall be opened to you. Like,
Yeah.
all you got to do is look for Jesus. Open the door, and He's there for you.
Yeah.
Find your fuel. Grow that relationship with Him. That's the first steps.
And we're all gonna stumble.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're going to fall down.
You're
Like,
going to fall for the temptation. You're going to
Yeah.
do something stupid.
Yeah, like
because we're human. We're sinners. We're born sinners. We can't deny that. No one's going to be perfect. The only perfect
Yeah.
human was Jesus.
and you're gonna fall down. Like another one of like my favorite quotes is, "A fool falls down 7 times, a wise man gets up 8." So it's that getting up every single time you fall down, and learning from it, thinking about it, thinking of what you could have done different, and just moving on. Don't like dwell in the past. Don't like look forward to the future. Like live in the now, and where God has you in His plan.
Absolutely.
Like just keep on getting up.
Yep.
Wake up. Get after it. Stay busy all afternoon, like it says in Ecclesiastes.
Plant your seed every morning.
Every single day. Just stay busy.
That's
stay
right.
hustling. Go get it.
All right.
I don't know how this closing works, but it's all you.
I'll take it away. I just want to end this off by saying I'm very proud of you boys. I'm very proud of what y'all have done the past 3 weeks with this detailing business. Y'all have really taken it head on, gone out of your comfort zone, going and marketing door to door. I mean, that sucks.
Scary.
It does.
Detailing, making the money, doing the research, doing all that stuff. You guys have been in the gym almost every single day for the first time probably in your entire life. And Will, easing back in from the shoulder injury. But I'm very proud of you boys. You guys have come a long way, and I love to see the growth that y'all have had. I appreciate y'all coming on to this podcast today.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Honor to
Absolutely.
be here.
Yeah. All right. Hope y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see y'all in the next one.